Evan and I were a toxic couple, hurling vicious words at each other, throwing punches when words weren't enough, until we finally spat out the same threat: if you don't sign, you're a damn coward. On the way to the divorce, we exhausted every cruel curse we could think of, wishing the worst on each other. But when the fuel truck came barreling toward us, he wrenched the steering wheel hard and took the impact on his side. It gave me an extra 0.01 seconds to live. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the summer after sophomore year of high school ended. Evan was standing there with a bouquet of flowers, asking if I wanted to give it a try. The next second, he lifted his head, his face dull, exhausted, and unmistakably grim. The moment our eyes met, I knew it instantly. He had come back too. Chapter 1. I found a stack of Lily's portraits hidden in Evan's safe. In that moment of shattering clarity, I knew he was dead. Without a word, I lunged at him, slapped him twice across the face, my nails raking down his skin. At first, he only dodged. Then he snapped and shoved me away. "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you crazy?" I grabbed the drawings and hurled them straight at his face. "I'm crazy? You're the sick one. Secretly drawing your sister-in-law, are you disgusting or what?" Looking at the sketches scattered across the floor, Evan's eyes reddened. "Anna, I've never met anyone as vile and malicious as you. You're just jealous of Lily. You've always had bad intentions. But you'll never measure up to her, not even a fraction of her. Why wasn't it you who died back then?" I had heard those words too many times. And yet every single time, they still drove me insane. I grabbed a chair and charged at him. "Go to hell." That was the day we fought our way into the police station. The officer asked me gently if I'd been a victim of domestic violence. I let out a cold laugh. "Don't patronize me. It was mutual. We were both throwing punches. My hair was a mess, bruises blooming on my face. But Evan was the one with his head split open, blood streaming down. This round, I won." When we walked out of the station, we pointed at each other's faces. This marriage had to end. If you don't sign, you're a damn coward. Chapter 2. Who would have thought we'd die on the way to getting divorced? The second before the fuel truck crashed into us, I was still cursing him out, calling him a filthy pervert who lurked in the shadows, peeping and fantasizing like a creep. Evan's face was dark as a storm cloud, his teeth clenched. "The one I've always loved is Lily. From beginning to end, it's always been Lily. If you didn't look exactly like her, do you really think I would have ever been with you? Anna, take a good look at yourself. In what way do you even compare to Lily?" What I hated most in this life was being measured against Lily. Even after her death, I was still forced to live in her shadow. Why? My hand was already reaching for Evan's hair. "Come on. Let's die together." The next second, a shrill sound tore through the air as the fuel truck lost control and came crashing toward us. My mind went completely blank. I saw Evan's face drain of color as he yanked the steering wheel hard, turning his side toward the impact. I stared at him in a daze. At this man who had been entangled with me for 10 years. We had never gotten along. Arguments, fights, there hadn't been a single peaceful stretch in all those years. So why didn't we separate? People had asked him. People had asked me. I said nothing. He would just lower his head and smoke. Neither of us ever had an answer. Just like that year, when he showed up looking drained and unlucky, holding a wilted bouquet, asking if I wanted to give it a try. How strange. Only a few days earlier, he had rejected my confession, saying he didn't want to date, that he only wanted to focus on his studies. So why had he suddenly changed his mind? It wasn't until much later that I learned the truth. He had gone to confess to Lily, and Lily had turned him down. Heartbroken and humiliated, he saw me. Saw a face identical to Lily's. And without thinking, he walked toward me. Using me as a substitute. Looking through me to remember Lily. 10 years. He really should have died. He deserved to die. Who needed him to trade his life for mine? All it did was let me live 0.01 seconds longer. Disgusting. Fine. The dead pay their debts. From that point on, all the old grudges and resentments should have dissolved into smoke. I only hoped that when I opened my eyes in the next life. Damn it. When I opened my eyes, I was staring at 17-year-old Evan. How did I know he was 17? Because he stood there with a bouquet of wilted blue delphiniums and the same blank, dead-eyed stare. I didn't like delphiniums. I liked roses, red roses, passionate, romantic, unapologetically bold. Evan had always looked down on me for that, saying I was vulgar and tasteless. He asked if I knew what delphiniums symbolized. Don't you think they look like little birds in flight? They represent freedom, unrestrained, untethered. Don't you think that's beautiful? I didn't. All I knew was that roses stood for love. Between lovers, you were supposed to give roses. And yet, up until the moment I was killed by that fuel truck, I had never received a single bouquet. Reborn at this moment, great. Even worse luck. And the worst part? Evan lifted his head. The instant our eyes met, we both saw that familiar look in each other's eyes.
Ha!
I didn't even have to think about it. He had come back too. Chapter 3. That summer was brutally hot. Senior year was closing in. Some kids bounced from one test prep session to the next, others had a private tutor waiting at home. Me? I was the only one drifting through the days, heading out before sunrise and dragging myself home around dinner, reluctant every step of the way. Today was no different. I kicked pebbles along the road, so full of resentment you could feel it from 15 feet away. The moment I saw Evan, my nerves spiked. I liked him. My first love, the kind that was sour and sweet at the same time. But he had rejected my confession, smiling politely and keeping his distance, saying he only wanted to focus on studying and didn't want to date. I ran off, humiliated, angry, heartbroken, holding back tears, swearing I'd never like him again. And yet when he started walking toward me, slow and deliberate, my heart still went wild and I froze in place. He asked, "Do you want to try?" Without even thinking, I nodded again and again. That pathetic, no dignity, no boundaries, no pride kind of lovesick behavior became the greatest shame of my entire life. So this time, I didn't hesitate for a second. I sneered at him and quietly raised my middle finger. Evan ran his tongue along the inside of his cheek, shoved the flowers into a trash can, and walked away. 10 minutes later, we met again, right outside my front door. Grace stood in the doorway, suspicious and on guard, gripping the frame as she stared Evan down. "Who are you looking for?" For once, Evan looked genuinely flustered, careful, even a little timid. "Ma'am, I'm looking for Lily. Could you let me see her? I have something I need to say." "You're looking for Lily for what? Who are you?" Grace's hostility practically turned solid, her eyes wide, her gaze sharp as a blade. Evan seemed rattled. He opened his mouth like he was going to explain. I clicked my tongue in irritation. "Didn't I already tell you I don't like you? Why are you showing up at my house? You think looking for Lily is going to help you? Do you not know she's the person I hate the most? Come with me." Under Grace's suspicious stare, Evan let me drag him downstairs. Chapter 4. Evan's face was dark as he yanked his arm free. "I know you came back too. Whatever happened before, I don't want to keep settling scores. If you think I wronged you, then fine, I'm sorry. But Anna, you should understand this. We came back to this point for a reason. It's a second chance. I will protect Lily. No one is taking her away from me, not anyone. Not even herself. I'm not asking you to help me. But don't get in my way. If you try to sabotage this, I won't let it go." I listened without expression as Evan's devotion and threats spilled out together. When he finished, still glaring at me like he wanted to burn a hole through my face, I let out a cold laugh. "Who do you think you are? Idiot." Everyone loved Lily. She was brilliant, kind, flawless. At school, she was always at the top of her class, the kind of golden student everyone expected to ace every test, every time. She competed in everything. She could sing and dance, played instruments, painted, wrote, good at all of it. And yet she never acted superior. With teachers, with classmates, she was always gentle, always wearing that soft, polite smile. At home, she was our parents' pride, the family's hope, the one everyone praised and held up as proof that something good had come from this house. She never talked back to adults. She was obedient, sweet. No matter how unreasonable the demand, she would lower her eyes and nod. But that kind of girl, perfect in every way, still ended up dead. The year it was finally over. The year she came out on top. The year our parents threw a celebration and basked in everyone's envy and praise, she went up to the roof and stepped off. Just like that, she ended her own life. No one ever knew why. Not even me. Only later, after years had passed, after memory rewound itself again and again, did I begin to glimpse the stains beneath all that shine. Chapter 5. After my blow-up with Evan, I drifted home at my own pace. The moment I pushed the door open, I saw Grace holding out a glass of milk to Lily. Her eyes were soft as she smoothed Lily's long hair. "In a bit, I'll drive you to Ms. White's," she said. "She says you've improved so quickly, but don't get arrogant. You have to keep working. Oh, and that boy from earlier, you really don't know him? Give me your phone. Let me take a look. Lily, this is a critical time. Don't learn from Anna and start hanging around those trashy boys. Anna's already a lost cause. You're all I have left. You'd better make me proud. Now drink your milk. While it's still warm." Grace had noticed me the whole time. She just didn't care. If anything, she rolled her eyes at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. And I thought, fine. If I'm already the family's lost cause, I might as well earn the title. I walked up, snatched the glass from Lily's hand, and smashed it onto the floor. "Anna, what do you think you're doing?" Grace screamed, shrill and hysterical. I lifted my brows. From now on, if I don't get to drink milk, then Lily doesn't get to drink it either. Did I ever drink milk when I was little? I honestly couldn't remember. All I knew was that since I'd been old enough to remember anything, I'd never touched the good stuff in this house. Those carefully plated meals. The balanced nutrition Grace planned out like a sacred ritual. The moment my chopsticks reached toward it, she would slap the back of my hand hard enough to sting. "What do you think you're doing? That's for Lily. Letting you eat it would be a waste. I might as well feed it to a dog. At least a dog can guard the house. What can you do?" At first, I cried and begged for it. All it got me was a beating. Nothing else. Grace never held back with me. She raised her hand high and brought it down with a sharp, explosive crack. My head snapped to the side. Half my face went numb all the way up into my skull. "Anna, have you completely lost your mind? You think you deserve milk? Look at your grades, do you deserve anything? And you still want to compare yourself to Lily? Take a look at what you are. Get out," she snapped. "This house doesn't want you." As she spoke, she grabbed the wooden pointer off the table and swung it like she was about to beat me with it. This time, I didn't stand there and take it. I bolted. And as I ran, I shoved over whatever I could reach, tables, chairs, a vase. The house filled with the crash of glass and ceramic, one after another, as everything turned into a wreck. Grace shrieked and chased after me. No matter how chaotic it got, no matter how loud it was, Lily sat there obediently, watching in silence. She didn't help either of us. She didn't try to stop either of us. She even picked up a book from the table and started reading, like none of it had anything to do with her. Until I snatched her phone. Finally, she looked up at me. For a brief second, something like confusion flickered through her cold stare, then it hardened. She watched, stiff and expressionless, as I ran into her room with the phone and slammed the door shut behind me. My first instinct was to lock it. But the lock was broken. There was nothing to turn, nothing to secure. So I threw my weight against the door, my back braced hard, holding it shut. On the other side came Grace's kicks and screams, her curses slamming into the wood. I smiled, a twisted, satisfied smile, unlocked the phone, and shouted with a shaky, crying voice. "Hello? 911. My mom's trying to kill me. Please, please come. Hurry. Save me." Chapter 6. Grace was taken away. After she kept fighting, scratching an officer across the neck and screaming that she was going to kill me, they arrested her and held her overnight. The officer looked at me with pity and asked if I wanted him to contact any other family members. He explained, carefully, that there was only so much they could do. If I insisted on holding Grace, then when she got out, my situation at home would likely get even worse. I nodded quickly, thanked him, and still insisted. She needed to be held. "No matter what," I said, "at least I'll get one good night of sleep." The officer's expression softened even more. Then he pointed toward Lily. "Is that your sister? Is she okay?" Compared to my pitiful mess, Lily, blank-faced and distant, like she wasn't even in the same room, looked far more unsettling. I gave a bitter smile, tapped my temple, and said loud enough for Lily to hear, "Her? Something's wrong in here. She's not right. Lily stiffened, her jaw tightening like she was biting down on something sharp. Out of basic decency, the police contacted our father, the man who was always away, always working, who only came home for holidays or when Lily brought home another achievement worth bragging about. He apologized politely, promised he'd come back as soon as possible, and said he would make sure his wife was kept in line. But I knew the truth. At minimum, he wasn't coming back for the next 2 days. After the police left, I yawned. Lily looked at me, her expression unreadable. I stretched, then walked straight into Lily's bedroom and dropped onto her bed like I owned it. About 5 minutes later, I heard footsteps. When I opened my eyes, Lily was standing at the side of the bed, staring down at me with a dark expression. "This is my room." "Oh. Leave. And if I don't?" "This is my room." That was it? She only knew one sentence? Not every essay you write is meant to be a perfect model answer. What, is this bed your precious treasure? You love it that much? Lily didn't respond. Her lips pressed tighter, and the look in her eyes grew deeper, colder. "If you don't like me in here, lend it to me for one night." This is the first time in my life I've ever slept on a bed this soft, with a comforter this fluffy. "Now, please," I added lazily. "Feel free to leave. And shut the door on your way out." I closed my eyes and stopped paying attention to her. I didn't know how much time passed before she finally left, and she actually did close the door behind her. Not gently, though. Huh. So she did have emotions after all. I'd thought she was truly above everything, untouched by the ordinary world. I turned over and buried myself deeper in the blanket. The things I said to Lily weren't just to needle her. In that 3-bedroom apartment, there had never been a room that belonged to me. At first, there was. The smallest, darkest room, a cramped little study. Then Lily started playing piano. To make space for the expensive upright they brought home, Grace cleared out my room and carved off a section of the balcony with a flimsy sliding partition. The space was so small you couldn't even fit a twin bed. So Grace bought a folding cot. Michael didn't approve. "This is too much," he said. "Where is Anna supposed to live?" Grace barely looked up. "What do you want me to do? The place isn't that big." Ms. White said Lily has real talent, she could become a master someday. For Lily, we all have to make sacrifices. If Anna were half as capable as Lily, I'd prioritize her too. After that, Michael fell silent for a long time. In the end, he only let out a sigh and said nothing more. And from then on, I lived on that narrow slice of balcony. For nearly 10 years. I had hated Grace. I had hated Michael. But the person I hated most was Lily. She accepted everything as if it was her birthright. And when Grace criticized me, deprived me, hit me, Lily never once spoke up for me. I'd looked to her for help more times than I could count. Every time, hope turned into disappointment. Sometimes I even thought the way she looked at me was cold. Superior. Almost pleased. She hated me, the same way I hated her. But what right did she have to hate me? That night I slept in a haze, drifting in and out, trapped in dream after dream. Grace was there. Michael too. But mostly it was Lily and Evan. Lily falling from a rooftop, her skull shattered, her body ruined beyond recognition. Everyone was screaming, collapsing, losing their minds. Hands grabbed my shoulders, shaking me hard as voices demanded, over and over, "Why wasn't it you?" And then those twisted faces sharpened into one. Evan. His hands were around my throat, his teeth clenched, his voice rasping with hate. "Why wasn't it you?" Chapter 7. I jolted awake drenched in sweat. When I opened the door, Evan was standing right outside, facing Lily with his cheeks flushed, looking like some lovesick boy in a coming-of-age movie. Pure. Earnest. Ridiculous. "Good morning, Lily," he said. "Have you had breakfast?" "I bought some, do you want to try it?" He lifted the bag like it was a treasure. Some was an understatement. It was a lot. Lily kept a hand on the door and didn't let him inside. Her voice was gentle, but distant. "No, thank you. May I ask what you came here for?" Evan stiffened. His gaze slid away, landing on me. I'm looking for Anna." Evan looked deflated after that, sulking the whole way without saying a word. He didn't even react when I helped myself to the breakfast in his bag. After I'd finished breakfast, he casually set another snack in front of me. "From that little bakery you like," he said. "You're always saying you want one. They're probably about to close, so eat it while you can." I stopped walking. That bakery, warm bread with a savory filling, rich and a little spicy. My favorite breakfast all through high school. Perfect with a hot drink. I really had said it before. Plenty of times. That I missed this place. But Evan had never once responded to it. So it wasn't that he hadn't heard me. It wasn't that he hadn't remembered. He just hadn't wanted to acknowledge me. Thinking that, I kicked him hard in the back of the calf. Evan sucked in a sharp breath. "What is wrong with you? Seriously, are you having another episode? You don't want to deal with me? Fine. I don't want to deal with you either. Goodbye. Goodbye. Forever." He shouted after my back, furious and out of control. 2 hours later, we locked eyes again, inside a dessert shop. "What are you doing here?" "Welcome," I said. He looked baffled. I wore a fake smile. The shop was literally called Sweet Shop, and it belonged to Evan's cousin, Claire. At that moment, Evan was demanding answers from her. "You hired her? Do you even know the law? She's underage." Claire just grinned. "If you don't say anything and I don't say anything, who's going to know she's underage?" Evan stared, then swung back to interrogate me. "Why would you come here looking for a job? Did you just decide she's an easy target? Some gullible idiot you can scam? Why do you need a job? You broke or something?" I curled my mouth into a smile and said, slowly, "None of your business." All afternoon I worked the front, greeting customers, clearing tables, running back and forth. Evan sat in the corner the whole time like an angry pufferfish. After a while, when I looked over again, he was asleep, head tilted back, mouth open. Claire nudged me with her elbow. "Does my little cousin like you or what? Are you two messing around?" I kept wiping down the table, expression blank. "He likes my sister." "Huh? My twin sister. The one who looks exactly like me." Claire sucked in a breath. "Oh my god. Like, substitute girl drama? That's disgusting." "Wait here," she said, rolling up her sleeves. "I'm gonna beat his ass." Good news number 1, Evan got chased out of the shop by his cousin, dodging and yelping, arms over his head, fleeing like his life depended on it. Good news number 2, I passed the trial shift, minimum wage, holiday pay, paid every 2 weeks. When I left the dessert shop, Evan was still crouched in a corner outside. The second he saw me, he stood up. "Spit it out. Can you not talk like a normal person? If you're not going to say anything, I'm leaving." "What did you say to my cousin? Why was she trying to beat me?" I rolled my eyes. I didn't want to deal with him at all. But Evan grabbed my arm. "Anna. You've been living on the balcony? Why? Your place has 3 bedrooms. Why were you sleeping on the balcony? And later, when you bought that huge house and custom-built that 10-foot bed, was it because of that? Then why is it that whenever I wasn't home, you'd go sleep in the study? And another thing." Another thing? Was he never going to shut up? I yanked my arm free, impatient. "We're not anything anymore. Not now. Not ever again. Stop meddling. And stop digging into my life." What did any of it have to do with him? Yes, when you lack something, you spend your whole life chasing it. I bought that huge house and had that oversized bed made because I'd never had them. But the bigger the house, the bigger the bed, the more it scared me. Too empty. Too quiet. The kind of emptiness that made your chest tighten. The only place I ever felt safe was curled up in the cramped study, buried under stacks of things, on a narrow pull-out couch. How ironic. How pathetic. I used to think growing up would fill the holes childhood left behind. Turns out those holes were the shape of my entire life. Chapter 8. The moment Grace got home, she started calling every tutor and test prep instructor she could reach, demanding they make up every session Lily had missed. Then she rushed into the kitchen, frantic, determined to cook a nutritious meal for her golden child as if that were the only thing that mattered. At first, she glared at me like she wanted to hit me again. I lifted Lily's phone and shook it in her face. "Touch me, and I'll call the cops again." Grace was so furious she could barely breathe. "Give Lily her phone back." "No. Either you buy her a new one, or she can live without it." Grace's face turned bright red. She grabbed Lily and inspected her from head to toe, demanding to know whether I'd bullied her during the past 24 hours. Lily looked listless. She shook her head and didn't say a word. To Grace, that expression alone was proof that I must have done something. But she was wary now. She didn't dare lay a hand on me again. All she could do was press a palm to her chest, seething. What a curse, she spat. How did I end up giving birth to a disaster like you? You can't learn, you can't do anything, and you still go after Lily. I should have strangled you when you were born. Why didn't I strangle you? With nowhere to put her rage, she finally chose the one thing she was best at. She erased me. Like I wasn't there. No dinner for me. No side dishes. She even carried all the drinking water into Lily's room. I shrugged and went back out to the balcony. By the light from outside the window, I ate a few slices of toast and a sandwich. It tasted amazing. From that day on, Grace cut me out completely. If she hadn't been afraid of what people would say, she probably wouldn't have even let me through the front door. I didn't care. I left early for work every day and came back after dark. When I was hungry, I ate bread. When I was thirsty, I drank bottled water. The only thing that annoyed me was Evan. He wouldn't go away. That day, the rain came down hard. At first the air was heavy and sticky. Then the wind picked up, bringing a sharp chill with it. When I stepped out of the shop, I hunched my shoulders, hesitating over which way to go. Evan held out an umbrella. Here. I acted like I didn't see it and shifted farther away. He clicked his tongue, irritated. What are you trying to prove? Are you not going home, or are you planning to run back in the rain? His brow was drawn tight with frustration. I looked up and glared at him. What do you want? Evan tightened his grip on the umbrella handle. I want to ask you something. Why did Lily jump off the roof? Anna, are you seriously not worried at all? She's your sister. Same blood. Same mother. She's going to jump. She's going to kill herself. She's going to die. Don't you want to change it? Don't you want to save her? You should be with her, protecting her, watching her, not out here working for money. Evan's words landed hard, righteous and loud, like he was delivering a speech. So righteous. So devoted. The edge in me dulled, little by little, until I even let out a soft laugh. Evan froze. He looked confused, unsettled, like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. I didn't give him the chance. I turned and ran straight into the rain. Chapter 9. The rain was coming down so hard it hit like fists, slamming into my face and shoulders. I could barely keep my eyes open. My clothes soaked through in seconds. I didn't slow down once. I ran all the way home in one breath. My clothes clung to me, heavy and cold, water dripping off the hem. I felt miserable. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again, harder. Still nothing. Letting out a long, sour breath, I slid down and sat against the door, drained. My body felt limp, shaky. I was shivering so hard my teeth threatened to chatter. I pressed a hand to my forehead, hot. Perfect. Bad luck never came alone. I was probably running a fever. Grace wasn't going to open the door for me. Lily wasn't going to care. And I wasn't qualified to have a key to this house. I might have been the most pathetic, most useless person to ever get a second chance at life. Leaning against the door, I drifted off in a fog. I didn't know how much time passed before the door finally swung open. Backlit by the hallway light, I saw Lily standing there in a nightgown, her long hair loose around her shoulders. I shoved past her and stumbled inside. A bitter laugh escaped me. Well, look at that. You actually opened the door. I thought you couldn't wait for me to die out there. Lily didn't answer. She closed the door, crouched down, and began wiping the water off the floor with a towel. It wasn't like Grace's deliberate neglect. Lily's indifference was different. It was real. Unbothered. Uninvolved. Like none of this mattered. Like I was a stranger. Or worse, like I was invisible. She didn't see me. And she didn't want to. Then why had she asked me for help back then? Chapter 10. Lily, I said, have you ever, just once, stood up for me? In this house, you get all the love, all the attention, all the good things, and you've never said a single word for me. Are you proud of it? Stepping on me, watching me get treated like dirt, watching me get hurt, while you live like a little princess. Is that what makes you happy? Do you hate me that much? Lily still didn't say a word, but her hands stopped moving. I waited. 1 second. 2. A minute. 2. The light in my eyes slowly died out. My foot shifted, like I was about to turn away. Lily shot to her feet. The towel dropped to the floor. Her arms were drawn so tight they trembled. When she finally spoke, her voice came out low and furious, like she was forcing it through clenched teeth. Yes. I hate you. I hate you so much I could choke on it. Anna, you're pathetic. When did you start remembering things? 6? 8? 10? I was 2. When you were still playing with blocks and dolls, I could already recite entire classical poems. Mom was so thrilled she called Dad and made me perform for him over the phone. She told him to come home, said she was going to take me to a hospital for an IQ test. 120, Lily said. That was my score. Higher than average, noticeably so. And that was all it was. But Mom didn't hear that part. She only heard genius. A genius had to be raised like a genius. She poured everything into me, dreaming up this beautiful future. When I said I wanted candy, she said no, geniuses don't eat candy. But Dad still bought 2 lollipops. I ate the lychee one and saved the strawberry one for you. That was the last lollipop I ever had. Anna, how could you live so freely? Like nothing could touch you? I begged you, stop going out to play. Study with me. Read with me. Stay with me. But you couldn't sit still. You couldn't learn. You were useless. You were useless, so the worst that happened was Mom hit you, yelled at you, gave up on you. But I was the genius. And if a genius turned into a failure, I would die. She would kill me. Lightning tore through the night, throwing Lily's face into stark, brutal light. Her eyes were bloodshot, shining with panic, lost and helpless and terrified. Then thunder cracked so close it felt like it exploded inside my skull. I flinched, a sharp cold spreading from my fingertips through my entire body. What are you talking about? I snapped. Who would kill you, Grace? Lily swayed, wiping tears off her face with shaking fingers. You don't understand, she said. You don't understand anything. Have you ever lived in a room that can't be locked? Where someone can slip up behind you anytime, anywhere, quiet as a shadow. She can't understand what's on the page, but she'll suddenly speak, out of nowhere, telling you the book is too close to your face, your posture is wrong, you can't let your mind wander. You don't get 1 second to loosen up. Those eyes follow you everywhere, like a curse you can't shake. Have you ever tried sleeping while someone watches you? You open your eyes and there's a person standing at the foot of your bed. Wiping sweat off your face. Tucking the blanket around you. Holding your hand. Or doing nothing at all, just standing there, staring. You're my everything. You're all I have. You have to work hard. You can't slack off. You can't fall behind. You have to be first. You have to be the best. My child should be the best. Only if you're the best will your father come back. Only then he won't abandon us. Otherwise, what are we supposed to do? I can only take you with me when I die. By the time Lily finished, it was like the words had drained every last ounce of strength from her. She braced a hand on the couch, breathing hard. It took a long time before she could stand fully upright again. When she spoke again, her voice was calm, too calm. Mom took sleeping pills. She won't wake up tonight. You got in on your own. It has nothing to do with me. Her steps were unsteady as she drifted back to her room like a ghost. I sagged, all the fight going out of me, and sank into a chair. There were things I didn't want to ask anymore. Including the words carved under the bed. Chapter 11. Lily's suicide was a mystery. She didn't leave a note. Not a single word. Grace practically tore the house apart, desperate to find an explanation. Until someone lifted the bed frame. And everyone froze. The crooked letters scratched into the wood looked like a hand closing around everyone's throat. Save me. Save me. Save me. Anna. Save me. Why did Lily need saving? And why was my name there? Grace grabbed me by the throat, her voice shredded raw. What did you do to Lily? Was it you? Did you drive her to it? Anna, why don't you go die? Why wasn't it you? I didn't understand either. Why? Was Lily asking me to save her? Or was it because of me that she needed saving at all? By then, Grace's hatred barely moved me anymore. I was left in a deep, hollow confusion. Lily, what were you trying to tell me? That night, I took over her room. After she shut her door, I crawled under the bed. There wasn't a speck of dust. It was cleaner than the floor outside. I turned on my phone's flashlight and aimed it at the bed slats. Half the underside was already covered in cramped, jagged handwriting, line after line of crooked letters. My hand shook as I traced my fingers over my own name. So, Lily, were you asking me to save you? Chapter 12. Grace stared me down. How did you get in here? I sat there calmly, eating oatmeal like I had all the time in the world. Locking me out last night was the first time, I said. And it will be the last. Otherwise? Otherwise? Grace let out a cold laugh. Otherwise what? This is my house. You only come in if I allow it. If I don't allow it, Anna, what are you doing? She screamed, lunging forward, then froze, too afraid to get any closer. I had Lily by the hair, yanking her head back, a pair of scissors pressed tight against her scalp. Lily didn't move. Other than a muffled groan when it first tugged painfully, she didn't make a sound. Grace was shaking, furious and frantic. Let Lily go. What do you want? I lifted my brows. Don't move. Because if I slip, I'm not sure whether I'll cut her hair, or her throat. Grace sucked in a sharp breath. Anna. Snip. A thick chunk of Lily's waist-length hair fell away. Grace let out a strangled cry, like I'd cut into her flesh. The sound pleased me. I started hacking at Lily's hair with no care, no style, just force. Each cut was vicious. Strands drifted down in uneven clumps, littering the floor. Grace's wailing filled my ears. Lily looked wrecked, her hair jagged and uneven, choppy in places, loose strands sticking everywhere. But she kept her eyes lowered the entire time, as if none of it had anything to do with her. Finally, I tossed the scissors aside. The next second, Grace lunged at me with a scream and shoved me hard, sending me stumbling away. She cradled Lily's face with trembling hands, staring at her like a priceless heirloom that had been ruined. Then Grace screamed again and snatched up a stool from nearby. I turned and ran. But right as I reached the door, the stool came flying after me and slammed into my back. Pain shot through me so sharply I sucked in a breath. I didn't stop. I bolted down the stairs, feet pounding, and crashed straight into Evan as he was coming up. What happened to you? He blurted, grabbing my arms. Why are you so pale? Are you hurt? What was that noise upstairs? Did you and your mom get into it? Get off me. Chapter 13. Evan grabbed me again, his expression dark. Why are you always like this? Anna, is it physically impossible for you to speak like a normal human being? You're like a brick wall, stubborn and impossible. Can't you fix your attitude for once? And no matter what, that's your mother, you. I took a slow breath and ripped my arm free. It's barely morning, I said. Don't push me unless you want a slap across the mouth. Anna. Evan. I looked at him coldly. You're a spoiled rich kid who grew up wrapped in bubble wrap. Stay away from me. Stay away from my family. And stay away from Lily. Evan's mouth flattened into a thin line, his face tightening as the color drained away. I can't. Anna, this time I'm not giving up on Lily. Not for anything. I'm going to protect her. I'm not letting anyone hurt her. I let out a short, bitter laugh. Protect her? And who exactly are you to her? Do you really think she even remembers who you are? You don't understand a damn thing, and you still want to play hero. Idiot. Chapter 14. Days passed, slow and steady. I was completely done with that house. Whenever I was there, the air turned to ice, like the whole place dropped into a deep freeze. Grace took Lily to get her hair fixed. Now Lily looked almost like a boy. She was even colder to me than before, so cold she didn't even spare me a glance. I kept leaving early and coming back late, busy from morning to night. The only thing in my way was Evan. After disappearing for 3 or 4 days, he started showing up at the dessert shop every single day. He stayed all day. We didn't speak once. But I knew he watched me a lot, staring off like his mind wasn't even in his body. Soon, more than half of summer break was gone, and I got my first paycheck of this life. And the day I'd been waiting for finally arrived. Tomorrow, Lily was performing at the City Music Showcase, live streamed from start to finish. For something that important, our always busy father had to show up. He had no excuse. Grace's nerves were visible. She hovered over Lily, making her play the same piece again and again. Telling her not to be nervous, while repeating in the same breath, "You have to do well. You can't make a mistake. Absolutely no mistakes." I let out a cold snort. Grace shot me a look full of spite. Before dawn the next morning, she dragged Lily out of bed to practice again. I buried myself in the blanket, irritated, and drifted back to sleep. By the time I woke up, they were already gone. The dessert shop was busy that day. After the rush, Claire leaned in and wiggled her eyebrows at me. "Where's my idiot cousin today? How come he didn't show?" "No idea," I said. "Maybe he's off trying to be a better person." Claire blinked. "Improve his, what?" I smiled and didn't bother explaining. That night, when I got home, Grace was practically dancing around the house, giddy, repeating over and over that Lily was her pride. So the performance must have gone perfectly. Only Michael wasn't there. "Oh," I said lightly. "Where's our hard-working father, passing the house 3 times without stepping inside?" Grace's face tightened. I'd hit a nerve. "What do you know? Your father is busy. Where do you think the money comes from? You think earning a living is easy? Is that so?" I shrugged. I thought he was busy soothing his mistress. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "Fine." I lifted a shoulder. "Let's call it nonsense." Grace's face darkened as she stepped in front of me, blocking my path. "Do you know something?" I smiled, not quite a smile, and let her patience burn down until she was right on the edge of exploding. Then I said it, slow and clear. "At the Grand Harbor Hotel. I saw him with his arm around a woman, walking straight inside." Grace went rigid, like she'd been struck by lightning. Her face twisted into something ugly and unrecognizable. She snatched her purse off the table and stormed out without looking back. Compared to Grace, I hated Michael even more. When I was little, I depended on him. He wasn't like Grace, he wasn't openly biased or sharp-edged. He always disapproved of the way she treated me. "They're both your children," he'd say. "How can you act like this?" So I told him everything, every hurt, every humiliation, every injustice. I even said, "If you and Mom ever get divorced, I want to go with you." Michael would rub my head, looking both pained and strangely relieved, like my words mattered. But that same night, when he and Grace got into another fight, he blurted out, "Even Anna wants us to divorce. She doesn't want to stay with you, look at what a failure you are as a mother." Then Michael grabbed his suitcase and walked out. Grace turned her gaze on me, cold and venomous. She seized me by the hair, dragged me from the living room into the kitchen, and forced me to kneel there all night. I called Michael sobbing. Begged him to come back. Told him I was scared. On the phone, he cursed Grace out, then soothed me with gentle words. And still, he never came home. Was that love? Grace told me plainly, she didn't love me. Michael told me he loved me, that he felt sorry for me, that it hurt him to see me like that. But he did nothing. And in the end, he still wanted credit for loving me, while insisting there was nothing he could do. Chapter 15. Lily took off the wig on her head and slowly stood, about to return to her room. "Take off your makeup, change your clothes, and come with me." Lily froze, but didn't move. "I'll wait 10 minutes, I said. "When time's up, I'm leaving, with or without you." "Where are you taking me?" she asked. "To sell you." For a second, Lily looked blank. The way she stared at me, stunned and obedient, made my mood lift for reasons I didn't bother analyzing. I tapped the table. "Move." Lily flinched, turned, and hurried toward her room. Her steps got faster, and right before she reached the doorway she even tripped over herself. 8.5 minutes later, she came back out. The same plain white dress she always wore, but this time her cheeks were flushed, and she was a little out of breath. She'd actually been nervous. I lifted my chin and walked out first. Lily followed close behind, careful and quiet. No matter when I looked back, she always kept exactly 3 feet of distance between us. Our first stop was Sweet Shop. Claire's eyes went wide. "You really do look exactly the same," Claire said. But honestly, you two are way too easy to tell apart. The little sister is quiet, and you're chaos. I smiled. We're different people. Of course we're easy to tell apart. I brought over a slice of cake and a coffee and set them in front of Lily. Our best seller, I said. Matcha cake and a cappuccino. Try it. Lily blinked, then obediently picked up her fork. I work here part-time, I told her. Anytime I'm not at home, I'm here. The owner's nice, the staff is nice, it's just a lot to learn. I practiced this cappuccino forever. The foam art is hard. You could probably learn it in an hour. And lately I've been learning how to bake with the kitchen staff. It's kind of fun. Lily took small bites of cake while she listened quietly. When she'd eaten half, I slid the plate away. Save room. We're going to eat other things. Anything you want to try? Lily thought for a moment. Street food. So I took her to the area around the university. It was one long row of food trucks, end to end. We walked from one side to the other, then all the way back again. An hour and a half, just like that. Lily's face went pale. Stomach hurting? She nodded. Yeah. Then we're done. Come on. Next place. We rode the bus for 20 minutes before getting off. When Lily saw the building in front of us, she hesitated, puzzled. I didn't explain. I led her into a low, plain apartment building nearby. Second floor. Third door on the left. I unlocked it. It's small, I said. One bed, a sink, a bathroom. I bought that desk and chair myself. This was the cheapest place near our school. I didn't have a choice. I rented it under Claire's name, I added. She paid the first year up front. I pay her back every month. Then I placed the key in Lily's hand. This door locks from the inside. There's only one key. If someone knocks, you can choose to open it or not. Do you want to stay here tonight? Lily clenched the key so hard her fingertips turned white. A full minute passed. I didn't wait for her answer. I walked out of the apartment. Outside the door, I crouched in the hallway for a long time, until I finally heard the lock click from inside. The corner of my mouth lifted, barely, almost imperceptibly, and I rose and went downstairs. Chapter 16. Grace had never been an easy person. Her stubbornness bordered on obsession. She needed control, and the second anything slipped out of her grip, she spiraled. And the thing that lit her up the fastest was Michael. Michael didn't answer her calls. Michael didn't take her out. Michael didn't come home. Do you have any idea how busy I am? Do you have any idea how hard it is to support a family? Fine, she'd shriek. Then I'll go earn the money, you stay home and raise the kids. Grace was all bark and no bite, loud, dramatic, and weak underneath. She'd throw tantrums, fling herself onto the floor, scream, and bully her way through anything. But when it came to Michael, she kept backing down. All she wanted was for him to come home. All she wanted was for him not to divorce her. Was it possible she truly didn't know he had something going on outside? No. She knew. She just kept turning a blind eye and lying to herself. Now that I'd ripped it open, Grace was guaranteed to lose her mind. She stormed into the hotel and went after the other woman. Michael flew into a rage and kicked Grace out of the room. What he didn't expect was that someone had reported the hotel for prostitution. The police showed up. And then reporters came right behind them. The whole thing was caught on camera, every second of it. The people who needed the hospital went to the hospital. The people who needed jail went to jail. Another perfect night. The next day, when I stood in front of Lily again, her expression shifted, confusion to shock, shock to understanding, and then her face drained white. Anna, what are you doing? In the reflection of the window, I saw it too. My hair was cut short, exactly like hers, the stylist working off Lily's photo. I was wearing a white dress I'd pulled straight from her closet. And with the same cool, blank expression she always wore, who could tell which one of us was Lily, and which one was Anna? I looked at her seriously. Let's play a game. Starting today, you're Anna. I'm Lily. You run. I settle accounts. Chapter 17. Michael refused to admit he was cheating. He claimed she was just an employee. That being alone with her in a room was for work. It was Grace who was paranoid, Grace who didn't trust him. If you can't even give me the most basic trust, Michael said coldly, then fine. Let's get divorced. The second he said the word divorce, Grace went limp. She swallowed his explanation and forced the anger down her own throat. In the living room, Michael had already lost patience. Enough. I brought you home. There are things at the plant I need to handle. I'm leaving. You're not staying for dinner? Grace snapped. Michael, do you even care about this family? I'm busy all day, every day, running this house. I never even see you. And now that you finally show up, you can't even sit down for 5 minutes before you're walking out the door. Are you done? He cut in. Do you have any idea how much money you cost me with this scene? If I don't go back, what then? Lose the client? Stop making money? Stop living? Grace shut her mouth, choking on the rage she couldn't swallow and couldn't spit out. Michael shot her a look of disgust, then turned to me, his expression softening into warm calm. Lily, he said, study hard at home. Listen to your mother. If you want anything, tell Dad. I'll buy it for you. Then, as if he'd suddenly remembered something, he added, where's Anna? I haven't seen her this whole time. Grace, did you hit her again? They're both your daughters, how can you be this biased? He shouldn't have said my name. The moment he did, Grace nearly fainted. I spoke slowly. Anna's gone. I made her leave. Grace and Michael both looked at me at the same time. The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Lily, Michael said, frowning. What are you talking about? What do you mean you made Anna leave? Grace's voice jumped in, shrill. Did Anna bully you again? God help me, this family, this cursed family. My expression didn't change. My voice stayed calm. Anna was seriously affecting my studying. I couldn't focus with her around. So I told her not to come back until after the exams. Michael stared at me, disapproval written all over his face. Lily, Anna is still your sister. Even if she's difficult, you can't just throw her out. That's not right. Grace exploded. What are you talking about? Do you even know what Anna's turned into? Look at Lily's hair, Anna did that. And she called the cops on me. Good. Let her be gone. I've wanted to get rid of her for ages. Michael's face hardened. Do you have any idea what you sound like? This house is a disaster because you keep stirring things up. And do you have any idea what kind of father you are? Grace shot back. You, Michael's jaw clenched. You're impossible. I'm not arguing with you. They started fighting again. I stood up and cut through it. I think the most important thing right now is the exams, I said evenly. If Lily is going to place at the top, everyone in this family needs to compromise. And if Anna is part of this family too, what does it matter if she makes a small sacrifice? Grace's eyes lit up immediately, nodding hard. Michael hesitated, his face caught between irritation and uncertainty. Fine, Michael said, waving it off. Do whatever you want. I'm done. I'm not dealing with this. Dad, I said gently, you're the backbone of this family. How can you just walk away? I actually need your help with something. Then I looked straight at him. Can you give me $7,000? Michael's eyes went wide. Lily, what do you need $7,000 for? It's Anna's expenses for the next year, I said. Living costs, expenses, housing. I'll give it to her, and she'll promise she won't go around talking. She'll tell everyone she moved out voluntarily. $7,000 wasn't a fortune, but it was enough for a student to live comfortably for a year, and even save some for college. It also wasn't a small amount. Michael could drop that kind of money on gifts for other people without blinking, but when it came to spending it on this family, he never wanted to. We're family, he said, frowning. Why are we talking about money? Anna is unbelievable. Grace thought it was too much as well. Why should we give her anything? Whatever she asks for, she gets. Who does she think she is? I didn't interrupt. I let them vent. It wasn't until they were almost finished that I added, lightly, like an afterthought, if I win, there'll be interviews. I just hope there won't be any ugly rumors floating around by then. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Chapter 18. Michael handed over the $7,000 like he was swallowing glass. Grace looked like it physically hurt her, like someone had taken a bite out of her flesh. When I brought the money to Lily, she was behind the counter at Sweet Shop, wearing a wig and dressed in my clothes. Evan stood right beside her, working the espresso machine at a slow, careful pace, finishing one step, then looking to her for approval. When Lily nodded obediently, Evan's mouth curved into a small smile, satisfied. I watched the scene for a long time. Then I turned away without hesitation. Evan caught up to me when I reached the bus stop. Anna. He was out of breath. I knew the moment I saw her, it wasn't you. Lily's suicide, it was because of your parents, wasn't it? This is what you came up with? Switching places with her? Anna, what are you doing? Evan. Like I had in my last life, I reached up and smoothed the hair he'd messed up from running. Evan froze, something turbulent rising in his eyes, something I couldn't read. Anna, he said, voice tight. Don't do anything reckless. I let out a soft laugh. What, are you afraid I'll kill myself? Do I seem like the type who would? Evan shook his head. You wouldn't. Even if you did, you'd drag someone down with you. In a way, he knew me too well. So, I said, stop meddling in my life. If you really want to do something useful, do what you did today, check for gaps, cover the weak spots for Lily. That's enough. Evan, you can't be anyone's savior. The only person who can save her is herself. When I got home, Grace already had dinner on the table. The same meal as always, beef stew, scrambled eggs, greens, rice, plus a glass of milk. Lily, Grace said, drink your milk first. While it's warm. I picked up the glass and, right in front of her, poured every drop into the sink. Lily. What are you doing? From now on, I'm not drinking it. Why? Do you have any idea this is for nutrition? I never drink it myself, I save it all for you. How can you pour it out? Do you honestly not know I'm lactose intolerant? I'd asked Lily that once, too. She'd gone quiet for a long time, then nodded and said she knew. When she was little, Grace didn't give her milk often, only once in a while. And every time Lily got sick, throwing up and rushing to the bathroom, Grace would get excited and call Michael. She'd say Lily was ill, that he needed to come home right away. And if Lily refused to drink it, Grace would stare her down and say, don't you want your father to come see you? Grace's face tightened. Lactose intolerant? Since when? Why don't I know that? Lily, don't listen to people filling your head with nonsense. They just want your money, trying to trick you into buying supplements. Your mother is the one who's doing what's best for you. You've been drinking it for years and nothing happened. Do you really think I would hurt you? I took a step back and looked at her, genuinely disappointed. I work that hard at school. I never ask you for anything. All I need is for you to do your job as support. Balanced meals. Basic health. Even something that's simple, you can't manage. Fine, I said. Then I'll tell Dad to hire a nanny. Grace stared at me like I'd slapped her. I work myself to the bone, who do you think it's for? You want a nanny? Lily, do you even have a conscience? I looked puzzled. But you really are doing a bad job. Are we not allowed to say that out loud? Mom, when you make a mistake, you admit it. When you're wrong, you fix it. Grace snapped. When she lost control and raised her hand to hit me, I hooked my foot behind hers and tripped her. I looked down at her, expressionless, from above. Mom, I said, looking down at her, you really do look like a screaming shrew right now. Chapter 19. At 3 a.m, my alarm dragged me out of sleep. I took a kitchen knife and walked into Grace's bedroom. After I'd humiliated her, her face had gone that ugly, dark, liver-red color. She'd disappeared into her room and never came out again. She hadn't even eaten dinner. When I reached the side of her bed, the knife tapped against the dresser, dull and muted, but in the dead of night it sounded loud enough to echo. Grace shifted, half waking, and our eyes met. The next second, her scream shattered the darkness, broken, panicked, hysterical. Mom, don't be afraid, I said softly. It's me. Lily? What are you doing? Her voice went razor sharp. Why are you standing over my bed with a knife? What are you going to do? Grace clutched the blanket and scrambled back into the corner, her voice climbing into a shriek so high it nearly cracked. I sighed and sat down on the edge of her bed. Mom, I said, is this the knife you use to cook for me every day? I lifted it, letting the weight of it show. It's heavy. Cutting vegetables must be exhausting. Even if you don't do it well, I added evenly, I can't deny you've put effort into it. Mom, as long as you don't interfere with my studies and my future, you'll always be my favorite mom. Now go to sleep, I said. I'll watch you. Grace looked like she was about to fall apart. She forced herself through her fear and escorted me back to my room. But she didn't know that tonight was only the beginning. The next day, when she realized I'd ordered food from a restaurant downstairs and had it delivered up, she exploded again. Right in front of the delivery guy, she dumped everything on the floor, then screamed and swept the rest off the table. I didn't say a word. I didn't move. I just watched her, cold, disgusted, as if she were something I couldn't stand to touch. Her movements got smaller. Slower. Uncertain. A flicker of embarrassment even crossed her face. I clicked my tongue and turned to leave. Where are you going? Grace grabbed me. I met her eyes calmly. Mom, I have a heavy workload this afternoon, I said. I need proper nutrition. Chapter 20. Fear, most of it comes from feeling powerless. When I was little, I feared Grace because I couldn't fight back. One slap from her could send me staggering. She could drag me like I weighed nothing. She could pin me to the floor, and I wouldn't even have the strength to struggle. Later, I hated Grace. For her favoritism. Her deprivation. Her cold indifference. But I wasn't afraid of her anymore. I could dodge her slaps, and if I couldn't dodge them, I could run. And when I grabbed her wrist, she couldn't even wrench herself free anymore. My sister's eaten like garbage since she was little, leftovers, scraps. And yet she's healthier than I am. Stronger, and she hardly ever gets sick. But I'm the one who was raised on the best of everything, and I get out of breath after walking 2 blocks. Ms. White was gentle, the careful kind of kind. When she saw me breathing too hard, she asked if I felt unwell, so I gave her a bitter little smile and told her the truth. You don't know this, but I'm lactose intolerant, and my mom insists milk is good for me, so she forces me to drink it. And to keep me in shape, she never lets me eat until I'm full. Everything I eat is low oil, low salt, bland enough to make you want to cry. Beef is good. Eggs are good. Greens are good. So I eat those 3 things forever. Even when I'm sick and have to be careful, it's still those same 3 things. I don't do outdoor exercise, because she says it's a waste of time. At this point my legs are practically atrophying. Ms. White's face filled with sympathy. What kind of mother does that? Whether something is good or not depends on whether it suits the person. Everyone's body is different, doesn't she understand that? I looked at Ms. White, genuinely moved. And out of the corner of my eye, I caught the door, slightly ajar. Grace would come, because my sheet music was still in her bag. So I let out a quiet sigh and said, Ms. White. I wish you were my mother. My mother should be like you, gentle, educated, and respectful. Tell me, if an adult can't even control her own emotions, what right does she have to raise children at all? Grace drifted home in a daze. When she reached our floor, she saw Evan pacing outside the door, holding a box of pastries. What are you doing here? She snapped. Anna doesn't live here anymore. Don't come here again. Evan scratched the back of his head, looking embarrassed. Ma'am. I actually like Lily. I made these myself. I wanted Lily to try them. Grace froze, then looked at me with a mix of disappointment and a faint, ugly kind of satisfaction. Lily, what is this? Is that true? Do you have any idea how critical this year is? How could you do something like this? You've really disappointed me. I just said, oh, stepped past her to open the door, and took the box from Evan at the same time. Thanks. Grace snatched the box out of my hands and slammed it onto the floor. You're still a kid, are you dating already? We work ourselves to the bone to send you to school so you can study, not so you can fool around with boys. Lily, you've truly disappointed me. The word disappointed came out through clenched teeth. I lifted my brows. He likes me. I don't like him. Then why doesn't he like someone else? Why you? Are you really saying you did nothing? If that's what you want to believe, I said evenly, there's nothing I can do. Lily, what kind of attitude is that? Over Grace's yelling, I walked into the kitchen, grabbed a cleaver, and tossed it onto the floor. If you think he shouldn't like me, I said calmly, then go ahead. Kill him. Grace went silent. Evan swallowed, edging backward almost imperceptibly. He was the one I'd called over. Evan was annoying. After everything that had happened, he probably started to realize that showing up in front of Grace only caused trouble, for me, or for Lily. So he'd gotten cautious. He didn't barge in anymore. He just hovered nearby, always circling. So I called him. If you want to come, come, I told him. And if you want to come often, come often. If you want to drive someone insane, you can't use only one trigger. When every single point in her life becomes a spark, the breakdown is only a matter of time. That night, I showed up at Grace's bedside again, staring straight at her. This time I didn't even have to make a sound. In under 30 seconds, she jolted upright. I took her hand, my voice low and ghostly. Mom, it's just you and me left in this house. You won't leave me, right? You have to believe me, no matter what happens, I love you. But it would be even better if you were more outstanding. My mom has to be the best, the strongest. Otherwise, what right do you have to be my mom? Don't you agree? Come on, I murmured. Let's sleep together, like when I was little. I won't leave you, and you'll never leave me either. Not ever. Chapter 21. It took less than 2 days. After I appeared by Grace's bed 2 nights in a row, she started locking her door from the inside. No matter how much I knocked, no matter how much I called, she wouldn't open it. So I took the cleaver and hacked at the door. The solid wooden door split, right in the center, leaving a small hole. I bent down, leaned close, and peered inside. Grace stood there rigid, frozen in place. I smiled brightly and spoke like we were having a pleasant chat. Mom, why did you lock the door? I can't get in. Ah! Grace's screaming didn't stop. It woke up neighbors upstairs and downstairs. Before long, people came out into the hallway. What is going on here? Grace yanked the door open and bolted into the hall, pointing at me and shouting, she's crazy. She hacked my door with a knife, she's insane. Someone grab her. I tilted my head, wide-eyed and innocent. It's because Mom locked the door. I couldn't get in. That's my room, Grace snapped. But you broke the lock to my door, I said calmly. You can walk into my room whenever you want. You love me like that, so of course I have to love you the same way. Isn't that right? The next day, Grace looked pale and jittery, avoiding my eyes as she had someone install a new lock on my door. Sometimes there's no point arguing. If she says a knife doesn't hurt, you don't keep explaining. You cut her once. Chapter 22. Before I knew it, summer break was over. Lily and I never saw each other again. When school started, we switched without a word, like we'd planned it. She took my seat. I took hers. Just like before, we didn't speak. If we met face to face, we detoured around each other. The only one who looked nervous was Evan. He asked me what would happen if my grades couldn't keep up. I snorted. Who said Lily has to be first in the class? And do you think Lily even wants to be first? She didn't. Lily didn't even know what she wanted. She grew more and more lost, spacing out in class, sleeping with her head on the desk during breaks. One day, I tossed a book onto her desk. Figure it out, I said. What you want to study. What schools you want to apply to. Lily stopped me. What do you want? She asked. The answer came out before I could think. Money, I said. A lot of it. I'd already started pushing Grace to ask Michael for more. Grace was a complicated, twisted woman. And it wasn't until I became Lily that I learned the truth. Michael only gave the household $300 a month to live on. She pinched those $300 down to the last cent, and every time she called Michael, she made sure to tell him she hadn't spent a single dollar on herself. She was proud of that. And the only excuse that let her ask him for money with a straight face was always the same, it's for your child. It's not for me. Twisted. Stubborn. Always choosing suffering and calling it virtue. Was she pathetic? Yes. But that was her problem. What did it have to do with Anna and Lily? Grace visibly aged. She grew more insecure by the day. And whenever she showed even a hint of resistance, I crushed it quickly. How do you crush a person? Step outside their logic. Stop caring about their emotions. It becomes effortless. Like when I asked Michael for money, why did I need a reason? Why did I need an excuse? Whether he gave it willingly didn't matter. If you don't pay, I make a scene. You lose money, and you buy yourself peace. For the past 6 months, the whole house had been chaos, screaming, fighting, constant disasters. And not one person ever asked about Anna. No one mentioned her. Just like when Anna was 10. She failed a test on purpose, and nobody cared. Lily got new shoes. She didn't. The balcony light was so dim, and no one replaced it. They forgot to give her lunch money for the day, and she went hungry. Hiding in the stairwell of her own building, she thought, if she disappeared, would Dad and Mom panic? Would they go crazy looking for her? Would they hold her and tell her they were sorry, tell her they shouldn't have treated her that way? Anna waited, from dusk to full night. The hallway emptied. The sky turned black. No rushed footsteps. No crying. No shouting her name. Anna got scared. She locked herself in the dark and tried to endure it. But she hit her limit. In the end, she ran home sobbing. Grace looked at her with open contempt. So you had the nerve to run away? If you've got that much ability, don't come back. You expected me to look for you? Dream on. Michael sighed, rubbed Anna's hair with a gentle hand, his expression mild, his voice soft. Don't do this again. Dad will worry. Be good. That moment made Anna's skin crawl. Evan asked me once, can they really not tell you and Lily apart? No, I said. They just don't care. They didn't care which one was Lily and which one was Anna. They only cared about having the best child. And now, under my pressure, they didn't even have the energy to care whether Lily was still the best. After all, whenever Grace demanded to know why my grades were slipping, I would tell her, completely indifferent, because of you. You can't give me a healthy environment. I'm exhausted. They say parents are a child's first teachers. You can't even manage your body or your emotions at the most basic level, how am I supposed to improve? I mean, if I had a more capable mother, I'd be a lot better than I am now. Mom, you don't make money and you can't even run this household properly. What exactly is the point of you? Grace was breaking down every single day. Sometimes she would look at me with suspicion. But the moment I sat down at the piano, she'd force herself to swallow every doubt. Maybe Lily wasn't doing well lately, but Anna was worse. Anna couldn't possibly play the piano. Grace couldn't even tell that I played the same piece every time. Just like she didn't know that no matter how useless I was, I'd always been top 10 in my grade. The only thing that ever worried me was when Grace dragged me to a therapist. She told them I was disobedient, my grades were slipping, I was rebellious. The diagnosis came back, moderate depression, along with moderate anxiety. I was genuinely puzzled. I thought the doctor was a hack. Then I thought about it, and let it go. Lily was sick. Whoever said Anna had to be normal? Chapter 23. I was having a great time in this mutual torture with Grace. And if I was having that much fun, how could I forget Michael? I still remembered the time I went to his factory and took photos of several discharge pipes. And the not-so-innocent relationship between him and that married accountant. The most important photos should always go to the right people. If it's about business, you send it to the competition. If it's about an affair, you send it to the spouse. Evan delivered those photos for me. His gaze was complicated. There were things he would never truly understand. Because empathy, the kind that comes from living it yourself, is not something you can force. Before long, Michael was drowning. A cornered man is dangerous. The accountant's husband pressed a knife to Michael's throat. He didn't cut, but he terrified Michael all the same. And Michael couldn't even retaliate. If he pushed it, he'd lose everything, reputation, leverage, dignity. Then came the inspections. Department after department. Orders to correct violations by a deadline. Michael didn't take it seriously. He hired lawyers and tried to bury it in paperwork, too late. 3 months later, the factory was shut down. With nowhere else to go, Michael came home with his tail between his legs. Only then did it become a real war between the two of them. In less than a week, Grace, who'd been delighted at first, couldn't stand him. He slept in and stayed up late. If he wasn't out playing cards or drinking with friends, he was sprawled on the couch watching TV. He did no chores. He tossed dirty clothes and socks everywhere. And he still had the nerve to nitpick, complaining that Grace did this wrong, that wrong. They had the most violent fight they'd ever had. For the first time, Grace screamed at Michael to get out. I enjoyed it. It was just too loud. So I hummed to myself and went back to my room. Lily chose her major. She wanted to apply for biology. The university she picked was out of state, far away. And I followed the same path as my last life, choosing my own alma mater. Evan, meanwhile, grew quieter and quieter. He watched me in silence. Followed me in silence. Finally, I turned on him. What do you want? Evan's voice was tight. Anna, do you like me? Does it matter? Doesn't it? I took a slow breath. Evan, if you came back just to figure out who I like and who you like, then you're even more pathetic than I thought. Time rolled forward like a grinding wheel, pushing us along whether we wanted it or not. Grace and Michael started fighting about divorce. More than once, Grace tried to come to me for comfort. Every time, I shut her down with a flat, lukewarm response. When she collapsed into sobs, I just watched her, like she was a stranger having a tantrum, like she was a lunatic I had no reason to indulge. Little by little, Grace started to fear me. I was growing, stronger, brighter, more alive. She was aging by the day. Of course she was afraid. But she didn't need to worry. I would treat her the same way she had treated me. Eventually, the exams arrived right on schedule. Lily had already packed her bags and bought a ticket for that night. She couldn't wait to leave, to go somewhere new. I looked at her calmly and said softly, Anna has to live somewhere in this world, and live well, all the way to the end. Lily lowered her head too quickly, almost like she couldn't bear to meet my eyes. Then she stepped forward and hugged me. Anna, she whispered, I hate you the most. But what am I supposed to do? You're also the person I love the most. That night, Evan stopped me. He grinned with that careless, cocky look of his. Didn't you want to provoke your parents? Use me, then. Free of charge. I rolled my eyes. Idiot. I turned away. Behind me, Evan's voice dropped, quieter. Anna, we shouldn't have ended up like this. All these years, I kept asking myself if I really liked you. I didn't know. But I did know one thing, when it came to leaving you, I didn't want to. And that day, you said you were only with me because you wanted to win. Because you wanted to beat Lily. That you didn't actually like me at all. I was hurt. That's why I blurted out those words. Anna. I like you. I lifted my eyes slightly, and something complicated tightened in my chest. It wasn't sadness. More like a dull pressure I couldn't name. Evan was talking about the day I found Lily's portraits. He told me it was just teenage confusion, told me to stop making a scene. Told me Lily was already gone, and I needed to quit while I was ahead. But how was I supposed to accept that years of love had been a lie? So I gave him a mocking smile. Then we really are perfect for each other. You used me as a stand-in for Lily, and I used you as a tool so I could beat Lily for once. Perfect. Nobody owes anybody anything. Evan's eyes went wide. What did you just say? I said I never liked you, I replied calmly. I just wanted to win against Lily once. Back then, a storm had surged through Evan's eyes. Fine, he'd said with a harsh laugh. Then I don't have to feel guilty anymore. Anna, you don't compare to Lily in any way. I regret using you as a substitute. Those cruel words still echoed in my ears. But everything had changed. In the end, I didn't say anything else. I just walked into the shadows, step by step. Bonus chapter, Lily. Lily woke with a jerk again, bolting upright, one hand clamped to her chest as she gasped for air. It had been 8 years since she left, and she still couldn't sleep. She was trying. Making friends. Seeing the world. Running experiments. Doing research. On the surface, everything looked better and better. But Lily knew the truth. Some nights, when it was quiet and late, she still wanted to climb onto the windowsill and jump. But she couldn't. She was Anna now. And Anna had to live to a natural end. Lily had hated Anna since childhood. Anna was like a cockroach you couldn't kill, no matter what Grace did to her, she'd be miserable for one night, then wake up the next morning with bright eyes again. How could she live like that? So carefree. So unrestrained. She did what she wanted, went where she wanted. But Lily couldn't. Her schedule was a treadmill, prep, practice packets, late nights. She ground herself down, trying to become Grace's perfect child. Anna had 2 healthy legs. She could run to any corner of the world she wanted. But Lily had her wings clipped, her limbs broken. There was nowhere she could go. That kind of helplessness drove Lily into despair more times than she could count. How badly she'd wanted Anna to see her. To save her. Lily had never imagined that what would destroy a person could be love. Maybe she really wasn't as strong as Anna. Not as tough. Not as capable. Lily thought, this is it. This is my life. This is all it will ever be. But then Anna gave her a choice. A choice to become Anna. Lily admitted it, her heart had moved. It was the 8th year of her life as Anna. One day, a friend sent her a photo, stunned. Look, doesn't she look like you? I'm serious, I freaked out. Are you sure you don't have a twin sister or something? Lily stared at the picture, zooming in, then in again, greedy for every detail. The girl in the photo was cool and distant, dressed in business attire, gold-rimmed glasses on her nose, her whole presence radiating keep your distance. It was Anna. This was the real Anna. Over the years, Lily had tried again and again to find out what happened to her. She knew Anna had gotten into the university she wanted. But it wasn't the one Grace wanted. So what had Grace done to her? Lily couldn't sleep. In the end, she bought a ticket back and returned in secret, hiding for half a month. Until Anna told her to get lost. Not your problem. She's not even fun for me. You'd let her crush you with one hand, you useless idiot. Lily thought, bitterly, maybe she really was useless. Why was the same nightmare that almost killed her, something Anna could shrug off like it was nothing? Lily had always known Anna was smart. She had to fight like hell just to hold on to first place. Anna could slip into the top 10 without even trying. A score Lily had to practice 100 times to memorize, Anna could play after hearing once. Lily was terrified. If this family had to have someone worthless, she wanted it to be Anna. But now it seemed the truth had always been the opposite. The worthless one had been her. And somehow, that was almost a relief. Suddenly, Lily missed Anna so much it hurt. She picked up her phone and dialed the number she'd memorized long ago. The call connected quickly. Who is this? Lily gripped the phone so tightly her whole hand trembled. She couldn't force out a single word. Her breathing only grew faster, sharper, like she was drowning. A long moment passed. Then Anna spoke. I'm busy. And if you're not afraid anymore, come back. Lily's tears spilled down her face. She let out a soft okay, her voice light for the first time in years. She thought, I'm going home. At this point, my love life is a public service announcement. Free of charge.